I'm 36 male and I'm ready to file for divorce after 12 years of marriage. My wife, 32, has an alcohol problem for many years. The kind that when she had more than a couple of drinks, her internal red light goes out completely. She has embarrassed herself plenty of times but is always able to disassociate the next day. It takes days of arguing for her to admit that she has a problem. She will agree to stop or cut way back on her drinking while she figures herself out, but then always reverts back to her old ways. The rules she helped develop to help regulate her drinking suddenly become the rules I imposed on her. Then I'm to blame for making her feel like a prisoner. I have warned and threatened to leave her many times because she wouldn't confront her problem. But I love her very much, and she's a wonderful person, at least most of the time. So when she realizes that I'm actually serious about leaving, she will shape up completely and I will stay. This time I have reached my limit. I went out of town recently on a work trip, and since I was going to be gone, she planned on taking the kids to a close friend's house for a kid party. The friend's wife works with me and was on the trip too. We have all known each other for decades, and we are basically family. My wife was visibly upset that she couldn't come with us and gave me hell in advance of the trip, but it was completely out of our control. I am not going to go deeper into the details, many of which I have changed because I'm worried someone I know will see this. So don't ask me to elaborate. But here comes the unbelievable part. My chest is getting heavy just thinking about it, and I want to throw up, but I have to start dealing with this. Now here it goes. I talked to her as I was getting ready to go to sleep myself, and instantly realized she had too much to drink. I voiced my concern and eventually was able to talk her into bed, or so I thought. My oldest daughter wakes me up nearly an hour later with a phone call, worried about how her mom woke her up by talking loudly and making too much noise. When my daughter confronted her and asked her who she was talking to, she was told that it was me. My daughter called me to ask me if it was me and I said no. I called my wife to see what the heck was going on, and she lied that she has been talking to one of the kids. She rushed me off the phone. So maybe 15 minutes later I called my daughter back, asking her to go check on her and to make sure she got to sleep before embarrassing herself. I'm a little paranoid at this point because my wife's been acting like she's been acting when she's getting frisky and feeling naughty. I know her better than anyone, but I still trust her enough to send my daughter up. My daughter gets to the room she's sleeping in and the door is locked. I'm on the phone with my daughter when she tries to get into the room. I can hear a panic struggle in the bed that sounds like someone threw a blanket over a wild animal. My daughter asks my wife to open the door, and I listen to my wife struggle to make an excuse for why she can't. She's got nothing and the room just goes silent. She's obviously hiding something. At this point, I know someone is in the room with her, and so does my daughter. But I don't want my daughter involved anymore. So I tell her to go back to bed and not worry about it. When I called her back a few minutes later to check in on her, she told me that the trusted family friend, who was also my work colleague's spouse, was in the room with my wife. She heard them talking after they thought she was gone. When I say this friend was trusted, I mean someone you could never imagine taking advantage of this situation. Long story short, the worst night of my life ensues. It hasn't gotten better since then. They both are going to take the affair to their graves, something I have read in common when it was truly just an impulsive hookup, and the participants have no desire to end the marriage. I know my wife loves me and would never have done this sober, but enough is enough. I am not babysitting her anymore. It doesn't matter how much evidence they are handed. They deny. My wife says she has no recollection of the events, which I'm actually almost willing to believe. I am skeptical, however, as she completely disassociates most of the time since then and has actually accused me of having an affair as a way to deflect. I am beyond hurt by her cowardice. I haven't cried like this, well, ever. The other amazing problem is that she won't consider rehab as the only chance to save our marriage. So I'm done. I understand she is mentally incapable of confronting her issues, but it hurts so much to see her internal struggle. She's just so weak. I am okay considering the circumstances. I will be strong for my kids, and I hope my wife is able to grow from her mistake. She has destroyed the relationship between our families. Our kids have been close with their kids since daycare. The kids are even arguing about it, and I found out later, with the former friend daughter refusing to believe that her dad did that. My colleague is having a really hard time. She told him that she was leaving him and decided to also tell her daughters. They broke down, so my colleague decided to stay with him for their sake and believed his denial. My daughter is somehow handling this well, considering she knows what happened and that they are lying. I had to assure her that she did the right thing telling me, and that sometimes people feel like they have to lie when they are in inexcusable situations. But I know she's hurt. The whole thing is just insane and feel like a bad dream. The fact that it not only happened at all, but with him, and that my kids were there and discovered it. I just can't wrap my mind around it. She thought that she would be sly and could manipulate me out of filing yesterday by telling me that she just found out that she's going to inherit a bunch of money. I just congratulated her and told her that I'll be happy to give her advice on how to be responsible with it. I am really afraid she's going to go crazy hiding this lie. I am waiting for a call back from an attorney, and I am certain how to move forward. I make 75% of the money, and I don't know how to feel about custody, splitting assets, etc. I am worried my wife would try to frame me for something, but with her history, I don't think she could get away with it. I know I will move on, and I'm going to be a better version of myself and find love again. The betrayal is just insane. Thanks for letting me vent. I will stop here. My thoughts are with you all that are going through similar situation. We are going to be badasses, and they will regret they did this to us. This is the end of the post. Now let's go over some of the top comments and responses from the original poster. Reader comment: I am so sorry. Alcoholism is a family disease, really, and I urge you to get counseling and support for yourself and the kids ASAP, even if your wife refuses. Alcohol Anonymous is the real deal, but you probably need even more support. Be strong, and know that holding the line and holding boundaries is actually the most loving thing, even though you feel like a total bastard. The truth is, it's not about the hookup really, it's about the addiction. So focusing on the infidelity itself is not going to lead to any true resolution. Again, I'm sorry, but the good news is that you're waking up and seeing the reality more and more. Original poster: thank you so much for this perspective. I really needed it right now, because she's really good tonight at making me feel like the bastard. I know it's about the alcohol. I just can't get over how she let it get this far. I realized 3 or 4 years ago that we were drinking too much, and she never been able to jump on that wagon of positive change with me. I wish I didn't care about her so much. Reader comment: you need to consult a lawyer about collecting presentable evidence about your wife's alcohol use if you wish to keep the kids away from her during her recovery. I would not have the kids around that. Video recording on your phone is probably the best thing you can do. Otherwise, the courts always award primary custody to the mother, unless there is clear evidence. Your wife is already getting desperate to keep you in the marriage, it sounds like. So you can probably bet that she's going to not be pleased when the divorce actually goes through. So I would be prepared for anything. Falsifying information about your quality as a father to the judge is just one of many ways. She may try to tear you down for this. I am not trying to make you paranoid, but this is not uncommon these days. Original poster: no, you're right. I have evidence for audio recording of her in a drunken rage, and she also has a DUI on her record. I hope that's enough so I don't have to drag eyewitnesses into this. I am prepared for her to take this in any direction. Yesterday morning, she agreed to an uncontested divorce. But today, she insisted that we're not going to divorce at all, explaining that I have to let her work on herself in her own way because she isn't going to rehab. I really hope I can have some type of setup where she can get joint custody after she's completed a treatment program. But I don't know if it works that way or not. I went for a hike yesterday and she accused me again of having an affair. Out of frustration, I asked her if she needed to smell my genitals when I get home, and she actually said yes. After I got home, I ate and jumped in the shower and she started banging on the door. I presume because she thinks I'm trying to wash the virginal fluid off of me. It's like I'm stuck in a feverish dream. When she's sober, she's an amazing mother, and I want the kids to have her in their life if she can hold it together. That's seeming less and less